Welcome to the Lead Out Loud podcast. I'm Professor G, and this is episode 61. It is titled, Mayor's Giving Main Character. This is a continuation of the conversation we started in episode 60 with my friend Miriam Layes. And listen, full disclosure, I take the transcripts of the episodes and I load them into ChatGPT and I have it do some heavy lifting for me. So rather than me tell you what this episode is about, I'm going to tell you what ChatGPT says it's about. And then I'll tell you if I agree with it or not. We discuss in this episode communication styles and professionalism. That's accurate. In fact, you may recall that episode 60 ended with Miriam kind of weighing in on how one should start out an email to somebody they don't know. Hey, Sean is not appropriate. You have to go with Dear Sean, comma. So we'll dive into that. You'll get my take on that. We'll unpack it a little bit. The next thing is generational perspectives on professionalism. So that's, again, a continuation of some of the themes from episode 60. We navigate the digital age in professional communication. That's just ChatGPT putting a fancy spin on what we've already talked about. And the implications of informal communication. That is accurate because one of the reasons we're talking about communication styles is it can impact your ability to successfully get hired for a job. And so how you carry yourself into an interview, how you interact with the people that are interviewing you can make a big difference. And if you don't have enough awareness of how you come across, then that could be a game changer for you. So I think there's some good advice in here, some good conversation, and I think you're going to find that Miriam is in fact giving main character. Enjoy the episode.
So some people are going to really hate me for this, but when you are addressing a customer, you shouldn't, unless you really know this person, you should not say, "Hi, Sean." It should be "Dear Sean, comma." Next paragraph, leave a line between the "Dear Sean" and whatever you're about to say. It's not, hey dude, hi. If we know each other, okay, but because maybe Sean's the same age as I am, and he's okay with "Hi, Sean" emoji smiles. Maybe that's okay for him. But maybe Sean is 65 years old, and getting a "Hi, Sean" email is going to reflect poorly on the organization because you don't look professional, you don't sound professional. But this is one of those things where it's form of communication's a little bit different. They are more informal, and it wasn't like that.
So, okay, let's talk about that for a second, because I'm guilty of that. First of all, informal, okay, I think that's a problem in certain circumstances. So the question I want to ask first is starting an email with "hi" instead of "dear", is that informal? I guess I would objectively, okay, it's less formal. So then the next question, is it appropriate? I feel like in the workplace, "dear" is too formal.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, "Dearest Miriam, I am writing to request your presence at our meeting this afternoon." That's how I feel when I write "dear." I feel like it should be, that's something that I would send to my pen pal perhaps I don't have a pen pal, but so I do start messages. I start messages to clients with "hi Miriam." Now, I don't say, "Hey Mayor, what's up?"
Yeah.
I mean, for you, I probably would, but if you were just, I get emails for the driving school, and I'll reply back. It's not "Dear Mr. Genovese." I'm not going that formal, but I'll say hi so and so, and then boom, I'll answer. I guess here's the question then: what's the difference between informal and straightforward? Because I'm with you, there's a certain director of a certain program at a certain school that can't send an email that's less than about 1,000 words. And it's like, I can't get through it. Just stop wasting my life.
Yeah.
Just tell me what you need to tell me. I don't need all of this. I cover that. There's another workshop I have about engineering communication where one of the things I say is be judicious with your storytelling. And the example I give is, my brother responds to a mass casualty event in Santa Barbara years ago. He radios to the dispatcher, I've got 3 down at the corner of Segovia and Del Norte, send 3 ambulances. He didn't say, I was with 2 other deputies at the Starbucks. I ordered a tall chai latte. We heard some gunshots. We proceeded in the direction. We saw some people running by us. Some of them were well-dressed. Some of them were in bathing suits. Hard to say where they were going. We didn't have time to talk to them, right? That's not being judicious with the storytelling. So it's like, okay, same question. Like, what's the difference between informal versus straightforward?
Straightforward is what you were talking about. Informal is a tone. The tone of the message. So I gave my example, and now I'm gonna kind of contradict myself, right? And say,
I love it when my guests contradict themselves.
I know. Yeah. I'm gonna contradict myself because I think one of the things that's really important to do this is for leaders, not for the new generation, newer workforce, but for leadership that's kind of struggling with this newer generation coming onto their teams, is you need to set a communication style that's going to work for your internal team together. Basically, understand the styles of the different team members you have, what their communication styles are. Agree on, hey, this is how we're going to communicate internally on Slack or over email. Like, we don't have to be so formal. It's okay to not address a person. Or do you want to CC the entire team on every email, or do you only want to, do you only want to address it to the person who needs to provide a response? Like, really clarify what the expectation is for communication. I think that is going to alleviate a lot of the issues for everybody on your team. But then also establish what good communication looks like for your external customers. Because you're right, maybe Dear is far too formal. But if you're in the legal setting, you have to be very formal, right? If you are if you're like a fun startup that does something techy, like Dear is going to be off-putting maybe to your target customer. So you need, as a leader, you need to establish what that looks like. And give examples and also provide guidance. Because remember, when people come out of school, you don't write professional emails in school. The most professional email is you begging your professor for an extension on your essay. Like,
and I get the range there too. I get the Dear Professor Genovese, I'm writing to you today to blah 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 blah, and then I get the 3 words, can I take test Monday?
And listen, both students might be equally qualified for whatever the job is that they're going to end up doing, right? It doesn't necessarily speak to your qualifications. It's just maybe they haven't been taught.
Right.
They haven't been shown it. They don't know. They don't know this is inappropriate. They don't know that this is coming across as, hey, this is not as engaging or as professional, or you're not going to get what you want out of this interaction if you proceed in this tone. Here's how you could be more effective. So it's really just teaching communication, which I think before you could kind of emulate what you saw in your other coworkers that were from you could look at their emails back and forth and kind of figure out, okay, this is the way we address people. This is our tone. And today we've had such a big turnover so quickly that we don't really have that type of leadership. So it's up to the managers to lead and provide opportunities for growth and lessons for the incoming workforce.
Okay, so you're saying, my question was going to be, all right, yeah, who should teach them? You're saying, well, the managers, it's going to be one of the jobs of the managers. All right, let's just assume that might have to be true out of necessity, but let's back up. Who should be teaching them? Whose responsibility is that to make sure that they're able to communicate with the effective tone in different audiences?
I mean, for me, it was always my managers. So I don't know who should be teaching that. I mean, do you think that the schools should be? We have
I,
a
I don't
communications
know. Like,
class, but
I mean, I'm going to go back to so we get all right. I've got a driving school.
yeah.
Okay, operate a driving school here, and we have an Instagram account. So the majority of our driving school clients are teenagers. Most of the time, we're interacting with their parents, particularly on the phone or via email. But we have an Instagram account because, hey,
Hmm.
look, we want to get out there. And so sometimes the kids, they'll send us a direct message on Instagram. And I wish I could find it quickly. It'll take me 10 minutes to go find this message that came in a while ago. But it was like the message was something like, yo. And I think it was, yo, how much are the lessons? Something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
Somebody should have told this kid that that's probably not the approach, right? Like
Right.
if you're texting your friend, okay, maybe. But it seems like the mode of the communication dictates the tone instead of the recipient of the message. Would you call up a business and they go, 50 driving school, yo, how much the lessons be, dog? Like, I don't know, maybe they would, in which case, right, same criticism, but I suspect no, it's going to go a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So do we have a bigger problem here where like, hey, yeah, we're on Slack. Well, Slack's kind of like me texting my homeboy. So is the Slack messaging, you already said, look, that might be less formal. We have an understanding. Okay, but if you are slacking the CEO of the company and you're
Right.
an intern, I think that still makes a difference.
First of all, you shouldn't be slacking the CEO of the company if you're an intern. I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay, so who teaches that? Who
Yeah.
teaches that? I want to go back to the part of the point I was going to make is where's this kid's parents? Like, how are they not instilling? Maybe they're doing the same thing. Like, okay, we got to change our dental appointment for Tuesday. Hey, tooth doctor.
What's up? Oh, then that's what's so sad. Gen Z won't know that reference. They don't know, won't know the WhatsApp reference.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody will bring it back.
Yeah, TikTok it. You'll find it somewhere.
Well, and so, okay, let's answer that question first. I mean, where is it starting? Is it are parents parenting differently, and then that's propagating through to these kids that are now in college and getting into the workforce? Is it the technology that is shifting the way we communicate and now changing the tone? I feel like part of what we're talking about is emotional intelligence. Like I need to
Hmm.
understand how I'm coming across to other people, and maybe it's a combination of the technology and COVID. I mean, now we've got this generation of kids that they spent 2 years learning in their rooms where they didn't have that feedback, that visual feedback from people in the room to realize maybe that, okay, when I text you this sentence, that doesn't have the effect that I thought it would, or it's having a different, it's having a negative effect perhaps. And I
Yeah.
don't understand that because now I didn't have those experiences in IRL, as the kids say. I don't know.
It's
Where is the
well,
problem?
it's I don't know where the problem is, but so that's it's really interesting, right? Because we're talking about language and grammar, um,
And tone.
in tone. But what's interesting, 'cause the thing that I thought about was like, okay, so we're saying they're not really getting that feedback to understand why this is important. But then I remember reading that, um, the newer generation, whatever it is, X, Y, Z, LMNOP.
Just call them all boomers.
No, that's the old generation. That's you, Sean.
Negative.
I'm an alpha. Don't group me
Nah,
with you, all
no,
right?
you're not. If I'm a boomer, you're a boomer.
So, okay, we're not boomers. We're both millennials. I think you are a millennial, right?
Right on the edge.
You're on the edge. Okay,
It
I'm a
depends on which
millennial.
social scientist you talk to.
We're gonna give you the title millennial. So, clearly we're
I'm
qualified
a
to
genial.
millennials. Oh, I like that. It sounds like another word that you don't want to be calling yourself, but anyway, what's really interesting is that they I saw that they perceived like the thumbs up emoji as something bad or like passive aggressive. So it's interesting that like there with the we talk about EQ, it's not that they don't know how to read the feed. Like clearly they're assigning emotion to language or to characters, but it's different. It's just different, right?
Mm.
They don't care as much about grammar or punctuation or the word you're using, right? It's not offensive that somebody says, "Yo," that's an extreme example. We're being very extreme here with our examples, but it's not offensive to you, but it is to me or whatever. But like me putting a thumbs up, I'm thinking, "Hey, got your message, thanks, got it." And they're reading it as like, "Got it, biatch, whatever." like, yeah, like it's like well, that's not what I meant. It's just interesting. I don't know how this comes about.
I mean, I've probably used the thumbs up 3 times today.
Right? Are you sure it was a thumb?
I've had that concern too, because yeah, there are some apps where I go to do the thumbs up, and I'm like, why would you put that emoji next to the thumbs up? Like let me double. Nope, 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 nope.
I know. Frequently used.
It'll be hard to explain. I was trying to go for the thumb, and I got the other finger instead. So okay, I mean that's it. That's an interesting observation because yeah, that's still part of emotional intelligence, though.
It
Because
is, but that's what I'm saying. They have emotional intelligence. It's just
yeah,
different.
well, but you need to be able to then understand how you're perceived by a variety of different people. So I guess that's just expanding that emotional intelligence. I feel like this, this dovetails into all the new slang terms that we have,
oh, don't even get me started. I don't know how to pronounce half of them.
which it's interesting because and you're gonna call me a boomer again in a second, but I like to watch reruns of like series from the 70s and 80s. So
The black and
right
white
now,
shows.
what's that?
The black and white shows.
I do watch some black and white shows actually. That's not the 60s. No, that's not in the 70s and 80s. So okay. I'm finishing up the Dick Van Dyke Show,
I knew
which
it! I
is
knew it! I
in
was going
black
to
and
call
white.
you out on it.
But that's not the one I'm talking about right
Okay.
now. The one I'm talking about right now is
The Brady
Chips.
Bunch. Oh, okay.
So I'm watching Chips, and they just did an episode. I think it's season 5 I'm on. They did an episode with the Valley Girls. There's this group of Valley Girls, and it turns out that they're robbing middle-aged men. They're getting in the car and all cutesy, and then they pull out a squirt gun and steal their wallets. But they're talking, they're doing all the Valley Girl, like, oh my God, totally, gag me with a spoon. And I'm watching this, and I'm going, all this Skibbity, Ohio stuff, it's the same shit, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same shizzle. It's the same. It's just different variations on a theme. Every generation has that. Actually, we could go back to Dick Van Dyke, right? You could go back to that time, and you got these, the Beatles are coming out, and the Beach Boys, and so now you got all the surfer slang. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I think it happens every generation, and then it's just this realization from the people that are now our age, going, well, wait a minute, they can't have their own stuff.
Yeah.
They they're stealing our thunder.
I it's hard, right? It's hard to accept that you have to conform to this new language.
We don't have to. You don't have to conform, but you
You don't
can't
have
stop
to,
it.
but
You can't stop
that's
it.
what I mean. Inevitably, it's going to become part of. Well,
Right.
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, right? Like faux shizzle never made it.
Wait, what? Yeah, I did. I used it today. Come on, dog.
But then there are some words like cool. Like cool was slang when right when it was first used, and now it's kind of a normal word. Nobody bats an eye if you say,
Yeah,
"Oh, that's so cool."
it's made it right. Sure, made it into
Right.
lexicon. It no longer refers to your temperature
Correct. Right. There's no confusion over what
exclusively.
that word means.
Well, look,
um,
there's stuff that I remember resisting. I was even so I'm their age
mhm.
then, the age that they are now. I was then. I think that's what I'm trying. So when I'm a teenager, hella was a big one.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not using hella. Of course, in California, there was like this Northern California, Southern California. If you were from Northern California, you said hella. So the
Hmm.
people from Southern California are like, that's lame. But now, okay, I say it. My bad. That was another one.
My
I'm
bad.
like, my bad. That's stupid. I'm not saying that. I say it all the time now, right? It's
Yeah.
like, and at the time, I'm sure people were going, my bad. What are you talking about? That's so
Yeah.
skibbity.
That's
Like,
so scary. I don't know what that word means. I don't know what that word means.
oh,
Ohio,
it's
skibbity.
cooks,
Now,
man.
Riz, I like. Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh, you
give
like,
credit to the youngins. I
I'm the
think it's
Rizzler.
that's not how you use that. I'm gonna give him credit. And Riz, when I heard it, I knew what it was, and I thought this shorthand makes sense. Yeah, good job. All right, we're being more efficient. You don't need to say charisma. You just say
Put her,
Riz.
she put her IE hat on. She's like,
Yeah.
good one, saving some syllables. That's really
Yep.
going to improve my life.
It's great. I love it. But, I don't understand the skibbity Ohio. I think one of them's a filler word. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't understand the mewing. What's with the mew?
This is new to me. Like a
Google
cat?
it.
Like meow or
No, it's not meow. That's different. No, and I've seen the videos, and they'll go, okay, what does this mean? And they'll go mewing, and they do this.
what it,
I don't know.
back in our day, this meant
Somebody's
something
going to
else.
watch this now, and they're going to be like, look at these two old timers. Oh my God, this is painful to listen to. This is painful to watch.
I
Um,
know. Hey, but this is
and
a
you know what?
reflection.
What
This is
I
a
have to say
reflection.
to you is that you guys just aren't down with the jive.
That I'm not on board with that. I don't associate me with that.
All right. So what can we associate you with? Because we started off with, let's bring this back. Let's
Okay.
bring this back. We started talking about how to get a job,
Yep.
which led us to the communication.
Yes.
So is any of this a problem? Does any of this go back to either being able to get a job? So should you go into the job interview with the skibbities?
No.
And should you tell them you've got mad Riz?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
think well, I think that's the other thing. It's I don't know. So I like that the new generation, and I think this can be said for a lot of generations, then you kind of become jaded, but um I like that they kind of advocate for, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to be true to myself. Take it or leave it. And I admire that. I'm like, you know what? That's really cool because I am a ball of anxiety and have the most imposter syndrome out of anybody I know. And I wish I had your confidence and like, you go. But I think the thing you need to understand is when you're asking somebody to I think some people call it code switching at work, where like you talk one way in you speak one way in your personal life, but then you change your demeanor or your language, and the way you present yourself for work. It's kind of like a different person. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm not going to comment on that. I think it's just too complicated. I don't know enough about it. But when we're asking you to drop the Riz and the yo and when we're asking you to drop the slang, it's because it's a sign of respect for your audience. That's what it is, right? We're not asking you to change who you are. We're asking you to show the person that you're with that you have enough respect for them to communicate in a style that's going to be effective and respectful. And I just hope that comes across. I hope people know that. We're not trying to change who you are. We're not telling you that you have to hide, whatever. It's like, but if you want the other person to understand you and you want to increase your chances of getting that job, have the respect for yourself and for the person sitting across from you to use a linguistic style that's going to work, one that they're going to understand.
I'll take that a step further. I think that's going to be my new answer to the question of how do I get a job? They're looking for the magic bullet. They're looking for the shortcut. Okay, it's not a shortcut, but the magic bullet, the answer to this question is you have to demonstrate, you have to find a way to demonstrate that you are a good fit for this role. And you do that through you starts with the resume or whatever initial contact you have with a company, because your job is to get to the decision maker. Okay, so if you're at a conference and you meet somebody, this is where the respect comes in. You need to demonstrate enough respect for them and for the job and yourself that, hey, I can have a conversation in a professional manner.
Exactly.
I value this opportunity. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to see. I want to demonstrate to you that I could do this, that I'm a good fit, culturally, functionally. Like I can do the job, I can fit in with your team, and you can't do that if you've got typos on your resume, if you're not talking to people in language that is of a professional slant. So I think that's a great. Respect is one of the ways that you demonstrate you're a good fit for this role.
Yeah, that's really well said.
Well, you said it. I just rephrased it.
It's really well rephrased.
You know, you're really giving main character here.
Is that another?
That was some main character, Mare.
I'm learning so much. Okay.
What an educational encounter and conversation. I think Miriam definitely learned some new words, as perhaps did I, or at least words that I'm not allowed to use. Anyway, that's it for episode 61. Thanks for listening and or watching. I hope you'll come back for more. We're going to kick off with episode 62, Real Leadership. REEL, Real Leadership. This is something a little new I'm trying here at the podcast. It's going to be same great guests, same great conversation, but we're going to have conversations about leadership through the lens of TV and movies. And some of these are not going to be the movies and TV shows that you would expect. So spoiler alert, I Love Lucy is up first. If you've never heard of it, I'm not surprised, but you should. You should know about Lucy, and you'll hear more about her and why she is relevant to leadership in episode 62, coming up soon. As always, head over to lolworkshop.com for more content and all kinds of other offerings. We'll see you next time.